Yo, what's good, fam? So, we're going to have a discussion about the Akai MPK Mini IV and, just some tips in regards to if you guys are running into installation issues. So we're going to have a conversation about a couple of things that I had to do in order to troubleshoot, some glitches that I ran into. All right. So, once again, I'm here to help. It's your man, Mr. Faia. Let's do it. Okay, so after you get done installing, the studio instrument collection, one of the things I've noticed, and I did this both for me as well as my guy down in Atlanta. As I told you guys in an earlier video, I was down in Atlanta when I actually picked up my MPK Mini. After running the firmware updater on both of the machines, now he's running an iMac, 2017 iMac with the i7 processor, and I'm running on my travel laptop, which is a 2019 MacBook Pro with the i9 processor. So he's got the i7. I'm sorry, he's got the i7 processor. I got the i9, both Intel based. So I won't be able to install this on a. Actually, I'm sorry. I just installed this on my M3 processor in it. However, the firmware has already been updated, so I did not replicate the same issues that I ran into with the Intel ones. And that issue is that after doing the firmware update, there was some connectivity issues with the actual studio instrument collection. So when you put your MPK in plug-in mode, that's the mode it has to be in order to communicate with this software. So that way you can, go up and down and make all your selections. Now, if you see this little blue dot right here, it was inside of Ableton, we were using it, inside of Ableton, but I also ran into this issue in the standalone software too. So where, it would lose connectivity. It was just, sometimes it would pop up and it would work great. Other times it wouldn't. Right. And we ran into this same issue on both machines. So what I ended up doing to get around that and fixing it, I should say, because it has not cropped up since, is I went into the audio MIDI setup, and you'll see right here, I've got the MPK Mini, right? So what I did basically is I unplugged my MPK Mini and I just deleted. Let me go in here and remove the selected device. There. So I deleted it out of the system and caused it to, and then plugged it back in. And then it basically kind of, reestablished itself. Okay. So, and when you go into here, another thing you're going to do too, if you're running into issues, just make sure that like inside of your DAW, you only need to use the DAW port. You don't need to worry about these other ones here. So just use the DAW port. Okay. Another thing too, to keep in mind is that when you're making the physical connection, don't use an extension, right? I used a USB extension for my guy's setup and everything, and it was kind of wonky, right? It was really glitchy. So that's something else that you might be aware of if you got a long run and whatnot. Don't use any extensions that are really long. I mean, the one we had in place, that joker was like 10 feet long, and we ended up plugging, the cable that came with the MPK into the end of that extension, making it so, because I think the one that comes with the MPK is maybe about 5 feet or something like that, so that made it a total of like 14, 15 feet long, that affects your data transfer between these lines, right? So when you have extra long lines, it degrades the signal, if that makes sense. Okay. So there is a limit that you're going to want to have and when it comes to using the extensions. So 10-foot extensions, I would not recommend it for the MPK, not at all. But outside of that, I'm plugging directly in, doing that, deleting the old MPK setup and then plugging in and allowing it to reestablish itself. That's been working great ever since. No problems. Going back into the software, one of the things that I've noticed too is that it picks up some, but not all of my MPC expansions. Okay. Because I got a lot more expansions in this and they're not all in here. I don't know what's the difference between them, so I'm going to reach out to, Akai and just kind of, raise that question like, hey, why is it that some of my expansion packs show up that I bought from you guys inside of this software, but not others? So, but hey, if you got any questions, you got some concerns, some things that you'd like to bring up, or if you're running into issues, maybe I could try to replicate it on my end, and then we can get it to Akai and say, hey, we need some help over here, with our setup, right? Hey, just drop me a comment just drop me a comment and I'll get back to you guys. All right.